Hey guys, Blinks here. I'm just going to be doing an updated pro mode build guide. So the build is majority the same, however I have made some changes just with my mods. Again, we're still using the MP7 outer space, heavy style, magazine capacity plus 48, reload speed negative 30. I don't really notice the reload speed as much with the mag that I have on. In none of actually my builds, I haven't shown the attachments I use. So I run the flash hider, the compact reflex sight, compact infrared indicator, and my amended SMG mag. For the mod that I'm using on the actual MP7, I'm using static shock, power surge status duration negative 50, and power surge damage plus 20. My rolls are element damage plus 8, status damage plus 6, damage against normal enemies plus 4, and magazine capacity plus 7.2. For my secondary, I'm running the DE50 Wildfire. I'm using precision style on it, attack plus 25, range plus 40, fire rate negative 10. However, I don't use this gun mainly for DPS. I can, it's pretty good, but it's mainly just a tagging thing, so the fire rate and all that doesn't really matter. And then just my mod on the deal is vulnerability amplifier. The bullseye adds vulnerability plus 8. This is probably the best mod to run on a bullseye weapon. Previously, in my last builds, I was using recovery mark, and I was using the gun kind of as like a self-healer, so if you don't have that mod, you could run one of these as an alternative. However, this is the best damage mod if you're using this gun strictly for bullseye. For my gear, the Mayfly goggles, I have it up to 3 stars just off of the gear that I had, max calibrated. Power surge trigger count plus 1, power surge damage negative 30%. For the mod on my mask, I'm using deviation expert precision, range negative 25%, fire rate plus 10, status damage plus 20. If you are using any status damage gun, in my opinion, this is the best mod to run. Especially the range, you don't notice it. I still shoot people completely fine from range. Like, I don't really notice the minus 25%. There's no real damage like drop off. I do have to go back and farm a better mod. This one's kind of still meh. We got weak spot damage plus 6, damage against great ones plus 2.4, and damage against normal enemies plus 10. The only reason I'm really running this mod is for the damage against normal enemies. I do have this one also, however, again, I'm losing 6% damage to normal enemies, and I'm only really gaining 3% to elites. So I could run this one instead, however, I run this one. For my chest, I'm running the Renegade Jacket. I'm using my old mod, Flame Resonance, status damage plus 12, element damage plus 4.8, and status damage 2.4. This mod is just goated. I got this while leveling just from silos or like quests. I don't know for sure where this exactly drops from, however I just know I got it while I was leveling, and I've kind of kept it ever since because the stats are pretty good. So I am running still 3-piece Renegade, so I get reload speed, weak spot damage, and hitting the same enemy consecutively grants 1 stack of Archer's Focus, increasing weak spot damage by 4% up to 10 stacks. Archer's Focus stacks are halved when the target is changed. Now with the stacks being halved, I don't even notice it. I can switch targets just fine, and I will lose the stacks. However, the gun shoots so fast that you get up to 10 stacks instantly. So it's not really like there's a bad thing with switching targets with this. It still works completely fine, and it also shreds if you're just focusing one target. For my mask, I'm running Thunderclap. This is by far the best mod to run if you are a Power Surge user. So after triggering Power Surge 20 times, the next hit summons Celestial Thunder, shock damage of 200% PSI intensity. And again, I still got to go back and farm a better mod for this one. But I'm getting status damage plus 3.6, weapon damage plus 2.4, damage against elite enemies 3, and damage against great ones 6. So I still got to go back and farm a better mod. If I were to get better rolls, I'd be looking for more status damage, more elements, possibly normal enemies. The weapon damage is okay, but I don't really need it or benefit from that. I'd rather get normal enemies and like great ones. For the gloves, Renegade gloves, I'm using status enhancement. Status damage plus 20%. The rules on it: element damage 3.2 and damage against normal enemies 10. Status damage plus 4.8 and damage against elite enemies 3%. Now, I do go between two different mods. I don't use element overload. I found that this one doesn't really compete with status enhancement and munitions amplifier. My usual go-to is this one for silos, mainly because it has damage against normal enemies and it's got a pretty good roll with the element damage and obviously the flat rate of 15% weapon damage. So I go between the two. I find this one gives you higher DPS, however this one kills faster. So if you're just going between wanting to clear and wanting to, like for boss, I'd use this. For clearing ads and stuff, I'd use munitions amplifier. I don't swap between the two. I don't really care to do all that, but if you're looking for one or the other, I would most likely go with the munitions amplifier just for smoother silos. I'm running the Bastille Pants. So with the Bastille Gear set, I get when HP is above 70%, weapon damage plus 10. It's just a nice flat rate bonus. Most of the other sets don't give you something good right off the bat. You have to usually get 2 pieces. And then just with the second effect, I'm getting reload speed plus 20%. For the mod, I'm running Bullet Siphon. Again, I'm in front of this silo that I'm about to do because I'm farming a better pants mod. This roll is kind of meh. However, from the reset and all the new mods, this is the best one I have, so I'm just using that for now. Again, for an alternative that you could use, I was using Precision Charge, which was pretty good. It gives you, for every 10% weak spot hit rate of the previous magazine, elemental damage plus 4 up to 24%, lasting for 10 seconds. Reloading resets this calculation. So if you're spamming just a boss with the weak spot, you're going to shine and do more elemental damage and an overall stack. However, I have been using Bullet Siphon just for like silos again because I'm clearing multiple ads. I'm not really hitting weak spots. I'm kind of just shooting and going to the next target. So this one feels better in pro mode silos. For my boots, I'm running with the Bastille boots. For my mod, I believe, in my opinion, this is the best mod to run on your boots. Taking no damage within 4 seconds grants plus 20% melee, weapon, and status damage for 30 seconds. So right when you start a fight, you're going to get this flat rate bonus, and it's going, if you are hit, it's going to reset, and you just have to wait the next duration, and it'll pop back up. For the rolls, I'm running element 4.8, reload speed 9.6, status damage 1.2, and damage against great ones. I still got to farm a better mod. There's a reason why I only did 4 out of 5. This mod wasn't really worth investing into, and I'm kind of low on armor mod. My melee, it doesn't really matter. I don't typically use it unless I have to for a silo, but stun baton. For my calibration on the stun baton, light striker style is the best thing to use. A lot of people don't know this, but if you hold out your melee, you get a speed boost from this calibration. So whenever like I'm running through a silo, you're like, how are you so quick, blah blah blah, it's from that. So do your best to get just a gold calibration and slap it on one of your melees that you just have in the side for either like silo use, or say like if you're still using the torch, just put one on that, because I run between the two. And the mod doesn't really matter, it's really old. Melee amplifier, melee damage plus 12%, melee damage plus 4.8, and max HP 3.6. So I don't use melees at all, so I don't really care about farming a new mod for that. So that's the build. We're going to go into pro mode PSI. I do want to see bosses take plus 15 damage when hit on weak spots and negative 40 when hit elsewhere. Enemy takes plus 30% damage when first attacked and negative 40 damage. So these weekly FXs don't really do this build justice. They're mainly bullet sponge affixes, so it's going to cost a lot more bullets to take down a target. However, we're going to just do this run anyways. So we'll just run through. I'm not gonna pick up anything. We'll skip that part. So I did Leia last night with my group. The damage on Leia, I was shining with ad clearing, getting the disciples down. Most of the mechanics you can handle with ease with this build. There wasn't any issue at all, I found. I ended it with around 8 million damage, while my teammates were around 2 to 3 million. But this gun is great for ad clearing, getting those disciples down. I shred the elemental bosses that you use to get the silo containers, or purification containers with the elements. I was shredding those in around a mag with no issue. So this build is super good. I have a frost build, and I also am trying to make a shrapnel build. However, I'm kind of locked out on the lone wolf pieces to make that one viable. However, in the future I might be able to get my hands on those and try out shrapnel. I've seen the damage on shrapnel and it is pretty insane. It tops this by far. However, I strongly believe that that one is going to get nerfed. So that's why I didn't like fully invest into it. And then Power Surge feels pretty stable. Like you shred things, but you're also using an IP7 with high fire rate. If you stack a lot of stats damage, you're gonna melt everything. So it's pretty balanced in my opinion. Like it's not game breaking or anything like that. However, the shrapnel, that is game breaking. I think I watched some guy do Treant Pro. Or it was hard, I think, at the time. But he did it in 5 seconds. One mag, shredded it completely. So if you are looking to build a shrapnel build, I would just keep in mind that it's probably going to get nerfed in the future. So I don't really bullseye anything here. If you want to make the most, you could bullseye every target and just shred them faster. I'll do it here in this room. And what's nice about bullseye the odd time is if you have your 20 stacks of Celestial Thunder, it'll proc when you use the deagle, surprisingly, even though it's not a Power Surge weapon. It's gonna pop med here. It shreds surprisingly. Or not, sorry. It procs with bullseye, which I wouldn't have expected. Maybe I can get it here. Just one magged an elite. There is a lot of lag going on. I know the servers are kind of going through a bit of a laggy situation. I think they're addressing it. They're doing their best, I'm pretty sure. They want to get that solved. It's still playable, however, there are definitely lag spikes here and there. So we're just going to run through here. I said I wouldn't loot, but I do need Platinum Crystal. I am running a little low. I love these grenaders, man. I love them. Use my gel here. I'm just gonna run through here. I'm gonna skip the laser gear crate. I'll go get that another time. I'm sure I'm gonna have to come back here. It's funny how all my videos take me back here. I just can't get a good pants mod. I don't know why. That was extremely lucky. I usually die to that one. So you're gonna just see the sure amount of damage on a boss. I'm gonna try to do this one as quick as possible. Or bullseye up. Make sure I don't die to the icicles. Let me see here. Okay, so it's up here. An icicle. Where are my icicles at? The spawning of these are so random. Here we go. We'll just run up here, get this done. But with the build, super easy. Works well in every content available right now. Like I said, Leia does great. The giant, it also does pretty good. You don't get the status damage, however, just the raw damage of my build, I hold up pretty well. With no issue. Just run over here. And we'll go over here. Bullseye boss. Now, it doesn't show the outline like it typically does for Bullseye on most of the bosses. However, the thing right next to the skull on the bar, that's Bullseye. So even though it doesn't show the outline, I'll just down this guy pretty quick. Even though it doesn't show the outline like it traditionally does, you can still proc most of the bosses with Bullseye. Without issue. I have to get rid of that guy, he's annoying me. And for PvP, this gun is king. I will do sort of a PvP focused video in the future when it gets a little more balanced and I get most of my mods together. I don't even know what most of the mods do for... Okay, we're rolled out of that one, but I guess not. Most of the mods don't work as intended right now. A couple of them are buggy. So it's not like the best system. It's also very laggy when you're PvPing. Which is kind of good for this gun. However, it also just shreds anyone in sight without an issue. Most of the time when I'm PvPing, people think I'm cheating because I kill them so quick. However, it is strictly just the gun and how good it is. Kind of overpowered in PvP. I think they gotta nerf it a little bit. It is too good. Just with the fire rate, the status damage, everything all together, like any cargo event, I'm king. And just like this last boss, shredded. I will go over back to my base and I'll do a dummy breakdown. Elemental amplifier, not what we need. Actually, I will check that mod. That might be a good mod. I'll check it after. We'll just go over to my base and we'll do a test dummy just to show the difference between those mods that I was running. So let me see here. This is with the status damage. So status enhancement. For the actual mods that you can put on the MP7, I find status shock to be one of the best. I obviously have a pretty good roll with it. However, like shock rampage also does good, and surge amplifier also does good. They're all pretty relatively the same. I will do a difference here just between them. So let me just spraying strictly the head for the weak spot. And I also have my bonus now. We'll do head, body. Go back. Now I will switch to my other mod that I use. This is for silo clear. Also has more damage against normal enemies, which I believe scales with this test dummy. Um, that's just chest shots. I typically aim for the head anyways, so I go off of the weak hits. But I'm doing 178k a mag. I didn't see the DPS. Around 54k DPS. And it's a little laggy, so it's kind of hard. We're going to go back to this. I'm going to switch to my surge amplifier. Switch surge amplifier. A little less DPS. I'm going to go do shock rampage. I just have to find the mod that I use. I think it's this one. Yeah. Weapon and status. So a little less. I think this one benefits the most for hitting body shots. And if I go back to my surge static shock, sorry, which is with the pretty good rolls. Okay, so that's a laggy one. We love that. Around 40k DPS, let's just do heads. 40 to 50, but 173k. $50k. I have seen this gone up to 70k. There's a 60k. Now if I add in my weapon switching, it's a little laggy, but 50k overall pretty much from all that. Again, my go-to is static shock. My mods, I switch between the two. You can have munitions amplifier if you have good roll, use that, or you can also use status enhancement. They kind of work either or. The DPS is still similar. So yeah guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Try out the mods that you have available. Make a build, just trial and error, guys. Make a build, see what you can do. Try adding crit if it works for you. Let me know what works, and let me know what builds you guys are making.